The galaxy was full of stars, but fear had made it quiet. Everywhere across the Council of Worlds, broadcasts repeated the same message. It was a voice of desperation, translated into thousands of alien tongues. To any who can hear us, we ask for aid. The Vorikai swarm has risen. We cannot stop them. We beg the galaxy send help. The words were sent out again and again, through long-range beacons, through hidden transmitters, even through the unstable folds of subspace. The Council of Worlds had never spoken with such unity before. Old rivalries between member species were forgotten. Disagreements in law and trade meant nothing now, because the Vorikai were coming, and the Vorikai left nothing alive. On the shining world of Alanus, capital of the Council, the great chamber of representatives gathered. It was a vast hall of light and steel, filled with the voices of 100 different species. Some floated in tanks of water, their fins flashing in panic. Some sat on 4 legs, their claws tapping against the marble floor. Others wore robes that covered their soft forms, hiding their trembling faces. In the center of the chamber, the council leader, an old being named Sorel, struck the stone podium. His voice echoed in the translation system so all could understand. "The swarm has taken 5 more colonies," Sorel said. "They spread faster than we thought possible. Their fleets devour fuel, metals, even the air of the worlds they conquer. Our defense forces fail against them. Entire planets fall in days. We have only one chance left, the signal we sent." But will anyone answer? The chamber filled with noise. Some shouted that the signal was useless. Others argued that perhaps old allies from forgotten eras might hear. A few hoped that there might be civilizations outside the council. Hidden in the far edges of the galaxy, one representative, a tall and crystalline being from the Lothri species, raised its shining hand. "We should prepare for the end. No power greater than the council exists. If we cannot stop the swarm, then no one can." Another, a fur-covered Kethian with a booming voice, roared back, "There may be powers we do not know. Do you think we are the only minds among the stars? The galaxy is vast. Somewhere, there may be a people who can fight." The debate raged until Sorel silenced them. "Hope is all we have. We will continue sending the signal. If someone hears, if someone answers." He let the sentence trail off. None dared finish it. Far away, beyond the borders of the Council's star maps, beyond even the explored arms of the spiral galaxy, the signal traveled. It passed through dust clouds, through the gravity wells of black stars, through the endless dark. For months, it moved. For months, no reply came. The swarm spread. Every week, more planets fell. The Council fleets grew smaller. The great chamber fell into despair. Then, one day on Alanus, the signal stations caught something new. A return pulse. At first, the engineers thought it was a reflection, just an echo of their own message bouncing off some anomaly. But the pulse carried patterns. The patterns formed language. The technicians rushed to decode it. The message was short, simple, and terrifying in its clarity. "We have heard your call. We are coming." The council leaders froze when they read it. Who had sent it? What power existed beyond their reach? Could it be another predator worse than the swarm? Or a savior? Days later, the chamber filled again. This time, the mood was not only fear, but also confusion and curiosity. A projection lit up the chamber. It was a blurry transmission from deep space. The face of a being appeared. Unlike the delicate and careful shapes of most council species, this one was hard-edged, with skin of strange colors and eyes that glowed with determination. The voice that came with it was low, strong, and steady. "This is a representative of humanity," it said. "We received your distress call. We understand your enemy is called the Vorikai swarm. We will send forces to assist. Hold as long as you can." The projection faded. The chamber erupted. "Humanity," shouted the crystalline Lothri. What is humanity? We have never heard of them. Perhaps a small people, pretending at strength, muttered the scaled Eridari. But others trembled for a different reason. There was something in that voice. Something that spoke of danger, of survival, of War Council leader Sorel, ordered research. The archives were searched, the oldest maps examined. At last, one record was found. A note from ancient explorers who had traveled beyond the Council's borders. They had spoken of a world so hostile it should have been lifeless, yet it was not. They called it a death world, a place where storms never ceased, where predators stalked every corner, where the very air and soil fought against life, and on that world lived humans. The discovery spread like wildfire. Representatives whispered to each other, Deathworlders. Some argued this was madness. To invite a people from such a place was to invite monsters into the galaxy. Others said it was the only chance left. The swarm was already at the gates. Outside the chamber, ordinary citizens of Alanis gathered in the plazas, staring at the sky. They knew the swarm was coming closer each day. They knew their fleets were broken. Rumors of the Deathworlders spread among them. Parents told children that saviors were on their way. Merchants whispered that perhaps it was already too late. But one truth burned brighter than fear. Someone had heard their call. Someone was coming, and though the Council did not yet understand what it meant, the galaxy was about to meet humanity. The Deathworlders were on their way. The Council of Worlds prepared to meet the strangers. On Alanis, the capital, the sky was filled with movement. Defense fleets gathered in orbit, their sleek ships gliding in silent patterns. Long silver towers rose from the surface, each glowing with the energy of translation systems. Inside the great chamber, every representative took their place. Fear, hope, and suspicion filled the air. For days, Council scouts had tracked the newcomers. The reports were the same. Large ships approaching from deep space faster than expected, larger than any Council vessel. The crews of the scout ships described them in hushed tones, black holes covered with scars. Engines that burned like suns, weapons lined across their sides like teeth. Some species felt relief. Others felt dread. When the time came, the skies above Alanis shimmered. A tear opened in space as the human fleet entered orbit. Hundreds of vessels appeared, each one different in design, but all of them powerful. Some were blocky and armored, like moving fortresses. Others were long and sharp, like blades of metal cutting through the void. The Council's fleets looked fragile beside them. The first words spoken across the communication link were steady and strong. "This is Admiral Reyes of the United Earth Fleet. By your call, we have come." The chamber on Alanis went silent. A group of human envoys descended to the surface. Their shuttle did not glide like Council craft. It roared, shaking the air, flames trailing behind as it cut through the atmosphere. Citizens of Alanis gathered in the plazas, staring at the strange machine. When it landed, armored figures stepped out. The humans walked with heavy boots that struck the ground like thunder. Their bodies were covered in protective suits, not elegant robes, like most species wore. Their faces were visible hard eyes, scarred skin, firm expressions. They looked like beings who had spent their lives in struggle. The Council had expected to meet frail diplomats. Instead, they saw warriors. Leader Sorel greeted them in the chamber. "We thank you for answering our call," he said, his voice echoing through the hall. "We are desperate. The swarm spreads without end. We hope you can aid us." Admiral Reyes stepped forward. His voice carried weight. "We understand the enemy you face. We have studied your reports. We will fight, but you must also understand us." The chamber leaned in with silence. Reyes continued. "We are from Earth. Our world is what you call a death world. For millions of years, life on our planet has fought to survive. Storms tear our lands apart. Predators stalk us in the dark. Even the smallest things, diseases, poisons, cold, heat, try to kill us. We endured all of it. We learned to fight back. That is who we are." A murmur spread among the Council. "Deathworlders," whispered many. The humans did not flinch at the word. Reyes only nodded. "Yes, Deathworlders. We survive what others cannot. That is why we are here. The swarm you fear. To us, it is only another challenge. And challenges are meant to be defeated. The council did not know how to respond. Some representatives felt hope stir within them. Others saw danger in the humans' calm words. The crystalline Lothri representative rose. Your nature is concerning. You speak of survival, of endless struggle. Do you not bring violence wherever you go? A human officer, a woman named Captain Malik, answered. Her voice was quiet but firm. We do not seek war, but when war comes to us, we do not surrender. You asked for help. That is why we are here. We will not abandon you. Still doubt lingered. Later, in private halls, the council leaders argued, Can we trust them? Asked the Eridari delegate, his scaled skin twitching with unease. They speak of war as if it is natural. They are dangerous, warned another. If they defeat the swarm, will they then turn on us? But Sorel shook his head. Without them, we have no chance. Better to risk new danger than to face certain death. Meanwhile, outside the chamber, the people of Alanis saw the humans with their own eyes. The armored soldiers walked among the crowds, studying the alien city with curious gazes. Children followed them at a distance, whispering about their size and strength. Traders offered them food and strange goods. The humans accepted with polite nods, their expressions hard but kind. One scene spread quickly through the city. A collapsed tower struck by old swarm bombardment had trapped workers inside. Council rescuers struggled to lift the heavy debris. A group of human marines arrived. Without hesitation, they pushed aside massive slabs of stone with raw strength, freeing the trapped workers in minutes. The crowd cheered. For the first time in months, hope returned. The next day, the council invited the humans to witness their defense fleets. Ships lifted from Alanis into orbit, sleek and shining, but fragile in design. Admiral Reyes studied them in silence before speaking. These are well crafted, he said, but they are not made for war. The council commanders bristled. Our fleets protect our trade routes. They keep order among the stars. Reyes nodded. Peace fleets. Good for patrol. Not for survival, he turned to his officers. Show them. From the human fleet, a warship moved forward. Its hull was scarred from countless battles, its weapons lined in rows. The council officers watched as it ran a simulation against swarm tactics. The ship fought like a beast, unleashed missiles firing in storms, lasers cutting through wave after wave of projected enemies, armor holding against constant assault. The council commanders were speechless. Their fleets could not last 10 minutes against such pressure. The humans had built ships for endless war. In the chamber, a new debate began. They are too strong, warned the Lothari. If they can destroy the swarm so easily, what stops them from conquering us after? But look at what they offer, countered the Keithian representative. Without them, we are doomed. With them, we may yet survive. Sorel raised his hand. We must decide quickly. The swarm moves closer every day. If we delay, no choice will remain. The chamber fell silent. Slowly, one by one, the representatives gave their agreement. Humanity would be allowed to fight alongside the council. That evening, the human fleet began preparations. Soldiers trained in camps outside Alanis. Their drills shocked the council observers. Humans ran under crushing gravity, carried weights twice their own size, and practiced combat in simulated toxic air. What would kill most species was their daily routine. Council citizens whispered among themselves, "They are not like us. They are something stronger, something dangerous, something we need." The word Deathworlders spread through the plazas, through the cities, through the star networks. At first it was spoken with fear. Then, slowly it became a word of hope, because the Deathworlders had come, and soon they would fight. The Vorakai swarm had already consumed 3 colonies in that region. Their ships were vast and insect-like, black shells bristling with spines, overwhelming their prey with numbers. Council fleets had tried to resist, but were torn apart like paper. Survivors fled, leaving entire worlds behind. Now, the swarm moved toward the green world of Thalara, home to millions of peaceful beings. Council leaders feared it would be lost. Their fleets were too weak to defend it. But Admiral Reyes and the United Earth fleets set course for Thalara, promising to stand in the swarm's path. The human fleet arrived first. Massive ships slid out of folded space, forming a wall of steel and fire above the planet. Admiral Reyes stood on the bridge of his flagship Vigilant, eyes on the dark horizon of stars. "They will come in numbers," said Captain Malik, standing at his side. "Good," Reyes replied. "Let them come. We will show the galaxy how Deathworlders fight." Council observers were present on several human ships. They watched nervously as alarms rang across the fleet. The swarm was coming. First it was only shadows. Then the shadows became shapes, hundreds, thousands of Vorikai ships, each like a flying beast with jagged wings. They moved in perfect unison, a storm of living metal. Council observers trembled. "Our fleets could never face this," one whispered. "It is too many." Reyes gave the order calmly. "All ships, battle stations, hold the line." The swarm rushed forward, a black tide against the stars. The battle began. Human ships did not scatter as Council fleets usually did. They did not retreat to defend themselves. They formed into layers, overlapping fields of fire, engines burning at full strength. The first wave of swarm ships crashed into them. Beams of energy lanced out from human warships, cutting through holes. Missiles streaked into the void, exploding with brutal force. Entire clusters of swarm vessels shattered into dust, but the swarm pressed on. They rammed against human shields, claws tearing at metal. Some broke through, striking smaller ships. Explosions lit the darkness. Still, the humans did not waver. Crews sealed damaged decks and kept fighting. Even as holes burned, they pushed forward. Council observers were stunned. They'd never seen such discipline. To them, war was chaos. To humans, war was survival. On the surface of Thalara, the swarm had already landed. Black spires stabbed into the ground, spilling hordes of insect-like warriors. The planet's defenders were few and untrained. They fell back toward the cities, carrying civilians with them. But then, fire streaked across the sky. Dropships. From the human fleet descended, slamming into the soil with thunder. The first human marines emerged. They wore heavy armor, their visors glowing with harsh light. Weapons in their hands roared with deadly precision. They charged into the swarm without fear. Council soldiers watching from the city walls could not believe it. The humans fought in places no one else would dare, through toxic swamps, across rivers of acid, even in collapsing ruins. They adapted to every danger. One marine squad entered a hive nest the swarm had built beneath the ground. Council soldiers warned them not to go. The air was poisonous, the tunnels unstable, but the humans went anyway. Hours later, the tunnels erupted in fire. The Marines walked out alive, covered in dust, carrying the swarm's egg sacs as proof of victory. Back in orbit, the battle raged on. The swarm's numbers seemed endless. For every ship destroyed, another appeared. Reyes had a plan. "Bring the fleet into the canyon," he ordered. "The canyon?" Captain Malik frowned. Then she understood. Near Thalara's orbit was a cluster of shattered moons, their fragments forming a narrow passage of rocks and debris. Reyes ordered the fleet to retreat into it, drawing the swarm behind them. The Council observers panicked. "You are trapping yourselves. You will have no room to maneuver." Reyes only smiled. "That's the point." And inside the canyon of shattered moons, the swarm crowded close, their formations breaking apart in the tight space. Ships collided with rocks, tearing themselves open. That was when the human fleet turned. Hidden mines detonated, planted by advanced scouts. The canyon walls became fire. Human warships opened with full broadside, their weapons shredding the trapped swarm. Missiles ricocheted between the rocks, exploding again and again. When the smoke cleared, half the swarm was gone. The rest, shaken and broken, scattered into the void. The first time the Vorikai had been forced to retreat. On the surface, the swarm also faltered. With their ships destroyed, their ground forces lost coordination. Human marines swept through their nests, burning them out. By nightfall, Thalara was free. Council citizens poured into the streets, cheering. They had expected death, but the Deathworlders had saved them. Yet even in victory, unease remained. Later, in the great chamber on Alanis, council representatives argued again. The battle reports had spread everywhere. The galaxy now knew of the Deathworlders' strength. "They fight like no other," admitted the Kethian representative. "They have done what we could not. They saved Thalara,"
Yes.
hissed the Lothri. "But do you not see how they fought? With traps, with sacrifice, with methods we call madness. They threw away ships and lives as if they were nothing. They are dangerous." Sorel spoke slowly. "Dangerous, yes, but also necessary. The swarm will not stop with Thalara. No? We must stand with the humans, or fall without them." The chamber fell into heavy silence. The choice was clear, but it was not easy. Meanwhile, across the stars, whispers spread. Ordinary beings spoke of the new warriors. "They came from a death world," some said. "They fight like monsters," said others. But many added with quiet hope, "They fight for us." The Vorkai had been stopped for the first time. The Deathworlders had proven themselves, and the galaxy knew this was only the beginning. News of the victory at Thalara spread across the galaxy like fire in dry grass. For the first time in many cycles, people of the council felt hope. They spoke the name of the newcomers with awe. Humans, Deathworlders, the ones who stood against the swarm and did not fall. On Alanis. In the plazas of the capital, songs were sung in praise of them. Children carved models of human warships. Merchants painted their armor on banners. Even the cautious leaders of distant colonies admitted, without the Deathworlders, Thalara would now be a grave. But hope was never without shadow. In the great chamber, the representatives argued again. The memory of Thalara was still fresh, but so too were the images of human war. Ships burning, soldiers walking through poison, strategies so brutal that many could not even imagine them. "They are too strong," said the crystalline Lothri representative, its body glowing with cold light. "We watched them fight, and we did not see mercy. We saw creatures who only know struggle. What if they turn on us when the swarm is gone?" The Kethian, tall and furred, shook his mane. "And what if they do not? Would you rather wait for the swarm to devour us all?" The Eridari scales, flashing with nervous color, hissed. "Perhaps both dangers are equal. Swarm or Deathworlders? Do we truly have a choice?" Council leader Sorel raised a weary hand. His voice was calm, but his eyes showed strain. "We do have a choice. We may choose to trust them more. We may drive them away. But remember this, the swarm has not been stopped by anyone else. Without the humans, all our worlds will burn." The chamber fell into uneasy silence. Meanwhile, the humans prepared for the next battle. Admiral Reyes met with council commanders in a strategy hall above Alanis. The alien commanders laid out maps of stars, highlighting the swarm's advance. "They are moving toward the Jalari system," one explained. "If they take it, the route to 3 major sectors will be open." Reyes studied the map. His expression did not change. "Then we will not let them take it. Our fleets will strike first." The council commanders shifted uncomfortably. One spoke. "You say this with such certainty. Do you not fear defeat?" Reyes looked at him directly. "On Earth, fear does not stop us. Fear is constant. We learned long ago that fear is a tool. It sharpens us. We will strike, and we will win." The aliens fell silent. To them, the humans' words sounded less like strategy and more like destiny. When the fleets moved to the Jalari system, Swarm was ready. The skies erupted with battle. Human warships fought with fire and steel, and once again, they pushed the Swarm back. But victory had its cost. One human cruiser, the Iron Star, took heavy damage. Surrounded with no hope of escape, its captain ordered the ship to ram into the largest swarm carrier. The collision tore both vessels apart in a storm of flame. The swarm lost a powerful ship, but so too did the humans. Council observers were horrified. To throw away a ship so willingly, with thousands of lives aboard, was unthinkable. Yet the humans called it sacrifice, not waste. After the battle, the Jalari system was safe. But rumors spread across the council. "Did you see them?" whispered one commander. "They destroy themselves as easily as they destroy their enemies." "They do not value life as we do," said another. "Perhaps they cannot be trusted." Back on Alanis, tension grew. A world called Everon, rich in crystal mines, refused to allow human ships to land. Its leaders feared that once the humans set foot there, they would never leave. But fate was cruel. The swarm came to Everon. The council fleets were too far away to help. Only the humans were close enough. Despite being refused before, Admiral Reyes ordered his fleet to ward the planet. On the surface of Everon, panic spread. Citizens fled into caves, hiding from the black storm of swarm landing craft. The local defense forces collapsed. Then, thunder filled the skies. Human warships descended, dropping soldiers and machines of war. Marines marched through the streets, meeting the swarm head-on. They did not retreat even when surrounded. They fought through fire, through collapsing buildings, through endless waves. In one city, a swarm brood mother broke through the defenses, towering over the walls. Council soldiers fled in terror, but a human squad climbed the walls, leaped onto the beast, and placed charges along its armored shell. Moments later, the broodmother fell in flames. The people of Eron watched in awe. The very warriors they had feared were now their saviors. When the battle ended, Everon was still standing. Its mines, its cities, its people, all safe. Human losses were heavy, but they spoke of them with quiet pride in the council chamber. The debate reignited. Everon would be ash without them, said the Kethian. Yet Everon never asked for them, argued the Letheri, and still they came. Do you not see? They act without our command. They follow only their own will. They act to save lives, Cyril reminded them. When fear kept us frozen, they moved. Is that not what we begged for when we sent the signal? The chamber split in two. Those who believed the humans were true allies, those who feared they were conquerors in disguise. Outside the halls of power, the people of the galaxy already knew their choice. On 1,000 worlds, voices cried the same words. The Deathworlders fight for us. Children painted their helmets on walls. Farmers named their tools after human weapons. Merchants told stories of human courage to travelers. Fear still lingered. But respect had begun to take root. Admiral Reyes stood in the command hall of the Vigilant, looking out into the stars. Captain Malik joined him. The council does not trust us, she said quietly. Reyes did not look away from the stars. They will in time. Trust is not given. It is earned. And if they never trust us? Malik asked. Reyes's voice was steady. Then it changes nothing. We came because they asked for help. We will fight until the swarm is broken. That is enough. But far away, in the dark corners of the galaxy, the Vorakai gathered strength. Their leaders had seen the Deathworlders. They had felt their sting. And for the first time, the swarm prepared not just to devour, but to destroy with purpose. The final storm was coming, and the galaxy would soon see whether the Deathworlders were truly saviors or something else entirely. The Vorakai swarm had grown stronger, smarter, and hungrier than ever. Entire sectors whispered warnings. The swarm comes. Nothing survives. At the center of the Council of Worlds, Alanis prepared for the battle of all battles. Its fleets formed in orbit. Defense shields glimmered like crystal under the light of distant suns. Citizens huddled in safe zones, watching the skies for the shadow of the swarm. But the Council knew the truth. Their forces alone could not stop it. From the depths of space, the Deathworlders arrived. Hundreds of human warships appeared over Alanis, each one scarred with experience, each one bristling with weapons that glowed with deadly energy. The Council had grown used to fear when humans fought, but now, hope was mixed with awe. Admiral Reyes stood on the bridge of the flagship Vigilant. Captain Malik joined him, surveying the stars. They're coming, she said, her voice low. Yes, Reyes replied. And when they reach us, they will wish they had never left their darkness. The Vorakai appeared like a black storm at the edge of the system. Ships swarmed in endless numbers. Shadows of their forms covered the light of distant stars. The aurora, what could be felt in space, was thick with tension. Council observers shivered. Some whispered prayers. Some prepared for the end. The first wave struck. Human ships met it without hesitation. Missiles tore through the swarm. Beams of light cut ships apart. Yet for every Vorakai destroyed, 2 more replaced it. The swarm had learned from previous battles. It was relentless. Still, the humans held. On the ground, human Marines landed on Atlantis. Streets once filled with fear were now filled with soldiers moving with purpose. Their armor gleamed under the light of the twin suns. Their weapons sang. Cutting through the swarm's ground forces with deadly efficiency, Council citizens watched from protected zones. They had never seen anything like it. Humans ran across collapsing buildings, through rivers of fire and acid, into the heart of swarm forces. Where others would have feared, humans pushed forward. In orbit, Reyes executed a dangerous maneuver. "We will divide their fleets," he said. "The trap must be perfect. Lives will be lost, but the swarm must be broken." Captain Malik's eyes widened. "We risk everything." Reyes's voice was calm. "We are Deathworlders. We survive risk. That is what we do." The Vigilant led the fleet into a narrow asteroid field. The Vorakai, thinking victory was near, followed without caution. Mines hidden among the rocks erupted. Vorakai ships collided with debris. Others were destroyed by human fire. The swarm screamed in anger as their numbers began to dwindle. Meanwhile, on Atlantis, the swarm attempted to land its main forces. Its monstrous ground units smashed into buildings, crushing defenses. Council soldiers fell back in terror, but the humans were already there. One squad of Marines climbed the side of a half-collapsed tower to stop a massive Vorakai behemoth. They fought without hesitation, planting charges along its armor, dodging acid sprays, and swinging claws. Finally, the creature fell, shaking the ground with its death. The crowd of citizens below cheered. For the first time, they truly believed victory was possible. The battle raged for hours, each side taking terrible losses. Human ships were destroyed, Marines fell, yet every action was calculated, every move a strategy to weaken the swarm. Council observers, for the first time, began to understand something. Humans did not fight like anyone else. They did not fight for glory or for honor or for power. They fought to survive and to protect. At the climax of the battle, the Vorakai leader, a massive entity of black metal and living flesh, moved to strike the council capital directly. Its arrival would destroy the planet if not stopped. Reyes knew the final move had come. He gave the order, "All ships, focus fire on the lead swarm vessel. All Marines converge on the Vorakai leader. We end this now," as a human struck with brutal efficiency. Ships moved in precise formations, firing on weak points. Marines advanced with unbroken resolve. Council observers watched in awe as the impossible happened. The Vorakai leader was surrounded. Trapped between fire from orbit and human soldiers on the ground, with a final coordinated strike, the leader fell. Its fleet, without guidance, collapsed into chaos. The surviving swarms scattered into the void, broken and defeated. Atlantis was safe. The galaxy had been saved. When the smoke cleared, silence fell over the council. The victory was total, yet the cost was visible. Human ships lay destroyed in orbit. Marines walked among the ruins, battered and exhausted. Still, not a single human retreated in shame. They had done what was necessary. Council representatives approached Admiral Reyes in the command hall. Sorel bowed deeply. "You have saved us all. The council owes you more than words can say." Reyes shook his head. "We fought because you called. We do not ask for thanks. That is not what Deathworlders do. We survive, and we fight when others cannot." Captain Malik added quietly, "We will remain as long as the swarm threatens your worlds. That is our promise." Outside the halls, the citizens of Atlantis came forward. Children waved flags painted with the symbols of human fleets. Families offered food and simple gifts. People touched human armor, wondering how beings from a death world could endure so much and still fight for others. The council had learned a lesson they would never forget. Humanity was not just strong. Humanity was extraordinary. Born of struggle, trained in survival, tempered in hardship, they had answered the galaxy's call when no one else could. In the aftermath, the council held a ceremony, not for humans alone, but for all who had fought. Still, the eyes of every representative were on the Deathworlders. They saw strength, courage, a different way of being, one that combined ruthlessness against enemies with care for allies. Sorel looked at Admiral Reyes during the ceremony. "You have earned a place among us, humans. You have proven that even the most feared warriors can be guardians." Reyes's response was simple. "We are not guardians. We are Deathworlders. We fight because that is what we do. But if our survival can protect others, then that is enough." The galaxy slowly began to rebuild. Systems once lost to the Vorakai began to thrive again. Trade resumed, colonies expanded, and council fleets were strengthened, this time with human guidance. And everywhere, the story of the Deathworlders spread. Across millions of planets, beings whispered the same words. They came when no one else would. They fought when all seemed lost. They are Deathworlders. They are humanity. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy knew it could survive anything, because the Deathworlders had come.